Hello, Laziali all over the world. Last podcast before Christmas, so I have to celebrate. And I mean, we won an away game, so there's plenty of things to celebrate today. Finally, guys, remember last time Lazio won an away game in Serie A was the 21st of October. Sassuolo Lazio 2-0. It was more than 2 months ago. So finally, Lazio won. It wasn't a great performance, but I mean, the important thing is winning, getting these 3 points and moving a little bit the table, right, Alistair?
Christmas miracle. Away win, 2 goals, Vittorio, in a match. What was that all about? And both from open play as well. But I'm looking around desperately here trying to find something Christmassy to wear now that you've out of nowhere, you've kind of thwarted me at the last minute by pulling a hat onto
Yeah.
screen just before you press record, and now I look like the Grinch or something because I'm not got any Christmas gear. All I've
Yeah,
got is this pencil.
you look like Rich, to be honest with you. You look a little
Yeah,
bit under the weather.
I'm dressed in green as well, so
Perfect, perfect. Uh, Alistair, it wasn't pretty, but three very important points. And I know a lot of people will complain, but let's not forget that this Empoli team, it's a decent team. They won away against Napoli. They won 2-0 against Fiorentina. They are not a bad team, especially without forgetting that we didn't have Romagnoli. We lost Ciro and Luis Alberto in the first half. So it wasn't very easy for Lazio, right?
no, they're a decent team, and I think they showed that, to be honest, because long stretches of that game they were the better team. And to be honest, from about the 25-minute mark, where that, like you mentioned, the second of those two injuries in 3 minutes happened. From then until the Zakanyi goal, really, it felt like we were just waiting for the moment they were going to concede. It was only a series of pretty unbelievable saves from Provedel that kept Lazio in this game. I was just reading the paper before starting to record today. I saw the headline in Corriere dello Sport was Provedel wins it. And maybe that's slightly oversimplifying things, but it did kind of feel like that because what a game he's at. I mean, I don't think we've seen a better game this season from Provedel. But we've not seen that many better games overall from Provedel. He was absolutely superb. He got a 9 out of 10 rating. And to put that in context, there are player ratings all the time for every match in all the papers here, but they're pretty much always between about 5.5 and 7.5. So it's kind of pointless having a rating out of 10. So to get a 9 says something.
Yeah, well, he made a pretty incredible save at the beginning of the second half, where Empoli was pushing really a lot. And even in the first half, I mean, we can argue that he wasn't perfect against Verona and against Genoa, but I would say that he had a decent season. I mean, the save he made in the last second against Cagliari, the home game, that was really 3 points. So I don't know. I was thinking probably Provedel at the moment is the best goalkeeper in Serie A, seeing also what Magnan did yesterday.
Well, yeah, I mean, we know he is because he won the award last season. So there is that. No, I think it does help because it's going to give confidence to everyone else around him, obviously. And there's been so much chopping and changing in that defense recently due to injuries, but then also a little bit of selection. Just selection problems, I guess. I mean, Marisic's form being something we talked about last time. This week finally seeing Pellegrini in the starting lineup, which was the first time this season in Serie A, if I remember correctly, that he's actually started a match. So there's been a lot of change in that department, and Provedel has been the one kind of constant. And yeah, he's showing he's got this remarkable shot-stopping ability, but it's not just that. I think he organizes the team really well. I think he communicates well, and the thing I really like about him is that he fields well. One of the best moments I think from him yesterday, and on top of the absolutely absurdly good reaction save was when we were under so much pressure and a really dangerous cross got thrown into the box and he's kind of running backwards and still manages to jump in the air, not just punch it away, but actually catch it safely.
Yeah.
And it's that's something we used to complain about with Strakosha, for example, is that under high balls, under crosses, it's not always a guarantee that a keeper will give you that security. And I think Provedel has been.
In fact, I think that's the biggest difference. I think Provedel is a great goalkeeper, especially for this. In a different situation, in a tough situation, he's still able to come out and grab the ball. We don't see a lot of goalkeepers nowadays doing that. And it's very important because it boosts the confidence of our defense. We know that when other teams are struggling and they need to score, they start putting this ball high in the box. And if you have a goalkeeper who is not shy to come out and grab the ball, it definitely helps. And so this is one of the reasons why I say Provedel is very good. We don't see Magnan doing that a lot. We don't see Sommer doing that a lot. We don't see Szczesny doing it. So I think that's something that a lot of people underestimate about Provedel, but it's very, very important. You mentioned Provedel was one of the building block of this team. Well, in the last month, since the 25th of November, even Gila has been one of the starting block. Patrick started, then Casale started, etc. Gila is always there. And I thought yesterday, again, he had a good performance. And if Ciro scores in that chance he had in the first half, where Gila comes out, grab the ball, run in the box and serve Ciro a nice ball. I mean, that would have been the first half assist from Gila in Serie A.
Yeah, he's taken his chance, and Sarri sounds kind of surprised by how good he's been, to be honest. So it's not just us. But yeah, I mean, he's proving himself to be a solid alternative because it goes to show, I don't think he would have been given that opportunity if it weren't for these injuries. And a lot of my nervousness around that position going into this season and the lack of depth there was really that we didn't see this from him last season. Then again, he didn't really get that many opportunities. And I think for anyone, you kind of need that run of games, don't you, to build up a bit more confidence, consistency, and assuredness to kind of feel like you trust yourself as much as everyone else trusts you to kind of perform at that level. He does still remind me, and I don't mean this in a negative way, although it might sound like it. He does still remind me of Mauricio a lot at times.
Why Mauricio, not Patrick?
He reminds me of Mauricio because he's got that kind of like, he seems to be basically going either at 100% or nothing all the time, where he's kind of, he's so kind of fully committed to everything he does. And I quite like that about a player. And look, Mauricio had some fantastic, when Mauricio was good, he was fantastic for Lazio, but he made a lot of mistakes. Thankfully, Gila isn't making that many mistakes. So I'm saying he's reminding me of the good parts of Mauricio at the moment. But yeah, I think it's been nice to see his development. On the flip side, slightly disappointing that Casale's not kind of kicked on or continued, I guess. I know he's had his injury problems, but I think this season he's not been at the level he was last generally. But yeah, I mean, look, it's another clean sheet. I think, to be honest, more than the defense, we should be talking about the other end of the pitch, though, because there's a lot to talk about there. I mean, scoring 2 goals, I was laughing about it, but that is actually quite a big achievement for Lazio in this season.
I mean, last time we scored twice in away game was Sassuolo Lazio, and it's the last away game in Serie A we won. So it's not a coincidence, right?
No, and do you not think the second goal kind of summed up Lazio this season? It was like, how is it this difficult to just put the ball in the net? It was like, takes about 3 attempts for Zaki he's not going to pass the ball, so he shoots, and it somehow comes back to him, and then he shoots again, and it gets blocked again, and then somehow comes back for a 3rd time, and even then I was like holding my breath before it actually went in the net, and I thought that was so brilliantly kind of illustrative of how difficult it's been for Lazio to score goals this season.
Well, even the first goal, right? Luis Alberto shots, deflected,
Yeah.
Cheeto, deflect. I mean, it's incredible. And I was convinced that the Guendouzi goal was deflected. Instead, he's, I don't know, pretending to shoot on the left of the goalkeeper instead shooting on the right. And it's not bad. He controls the ball with the right foot and shoot with the left foot. So that's even important to notice. But yeah, I mean, it's so difficult for us to score. We needed, I mean, they had to give the ball back to us 3 times every time. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And if you notice, on both goals, on the first one, Luis Alberto stayed down for pretty much all the 3 shots we have. Like, okay, it's over. I mean, come on. And Kamada as well, he's on offside and doesn't care of go back to be able to get the ball back.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest positive is Zaki, though, because he is finally, and we've kind of alluded to this without talking about it in much depth, but the last few weeks we're finally seeing a bit more of the old Zaki again, which is a huge relief. And I thought again, he was obviously very heavily involved in the first goal and scored the second one eventually. And yeah, I think one thing we've been crying out for while these problems have been happening in attack is for the wide players, for Felipe, Zaki, Pedro, Isaacson, all of these guys to be contributing, to be scoring goals, to be setting up goals more than they have been. And Anderson hasn't been scoring a lot, but he has at least got the most assists in the team. And Zaki, finally, we're starting to see making a bit more of an impact in that regard. So that is a positive because we need him to. We need to see the old Zaki again.
Yeah, keeping about the positive side, then we're going to talk about the bad side, I think. Guendouzi, great performance again. Not only the goal, the second goal starts from him again. Assist, I would say. Don't know if it counts as an assist, but very good performance. I think he's becoming more and more the leader of this team. Even when we were struggling at the beginning of the second half, he was there giving a hand. So really positive. And I don't know, what's your take on Rovella's performance? Because I thought he had a very good match, but some other Laziali told me that no, they don't agree. Roella didn't play that well.
Well, first thing, Guendouzi, yeah. I mean, I think that we've noticed recently that has become now the kind of settled midfield. Those two being the kind of the chosen 2 of the new players to be the starters. And yeah, I think he's understanding better kind of what he needs to do in this team to really make an impact. And he's got such good engine on him. He covers a lot of ground and he's a classic number 8 in that sense. But I think previously he wasn't always knowing where to direct that energy, going up and down the pitch a lot, but not necessarily being able to make big contributions. Whereas it's feeling like he's doing that a bit more now. Got the goal against Genoa in the Cup as well. So it was never going to be a case that he was going to be playing like he did in the second half against Napoli on his debut throughout the entire season. But he has been one of the best signings we've had and looks more and more confident as the season's going on. It was always going to take a bit of time. So it's nice to see that. I think we've been saying that most of the season. These players will need a while to bed in. It might take a while to start seeing the best of them. And it's nice to see that has come true with Guendouzi and Rovella. I think Rovella did fine yesterday. Yeah, I mean, I've been really impressed with him in general as a signing, as someone who's really confident on the ball, but really good defensively. I know I've said that a lot, but he really impresses me, that side of his game, because I don't think it's what he's famous for, but I think it's impressive.
You said Guendouzi candidate for the best signing of the season. Is Tati Gonzalez candidate for the worst signing of the summer?
You called him Tati Gonzalez again.
Castellanos, sorry. I wish it was Gonzalez.
Oh, Vittorio, what are we going to do about him?
I mean the goal he missed, I felt like I was Patrick. I don't know, guys, if you saw it at home. But when he missed the chance, Patrick fell on the floor and was desperate.
Along with every other Laziale who was
Yeah.
watching on from home, probably. Yeah, the thing is, he's just not going to get a better chance than that. And the things we've been saying about him not seeming to have a particularly instinctive eye for goal, I think that sums it up, because any instinctive or confident striker would just finish that with their eyes closed. After it was saved, he looked like he was desperately looking around, trying to kind of find a reason why it hadn't gone in. And yeah, God, I do feel for the guy, because the longer this goes on, the more chances he misses, the harder it's going to get for him. But you've just got to be finishing that kind of chance. You really have to.
Especially now, because we mentioned the injury of Immobile and Luis Alberto. We don't know how long they will be out, but I'm not sure Ciro is going to be able to recover for next game. So it will be probably Castellanos starting. And we said it, Lazio need to win the next 4 games. We won the first against Empoli, but it's not enough. We have Frosinone at home. We need to get the 3 points. And, when you need to win, probably your striker should be scoring, right? So, Tati, you have to wake up.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see with Ciro. Let's hope for the best. In that regard, it's going to be interesting to see if Ciro does spend some time out. If Sarri does go back, even if it's just part of a rotation, or if it's later in a game or something. But if Sarri ends up going back to the old Anderson through the middle system from last season, which obviously was pretty successful when Ciro was out, and now Isaacson has kicked on a little bit, I think that's a more valid plan B, because if you've got Zaki playing better on the left wing, Anderson's not been playing brilliantly on the right wing anyway, so if you move him into the middle and you have Isaacson or Pedro on his side, it is a valid alternative, and one that Lazio haven't really explored so far this year.
Yeah, Sarri mentioned it after the game. They asked him, what do you want for Christmas? And he said, look, I'm not looking for a new signing, even because I know that in general, Lazio in January usually doesn't sign new players. And I think we have enough squad. If Chida's out for a long time, then I have still Felipe Anderson that can move us number 9. So what I want is points, which I guess is what everybody wants. So yeah, that could be an option. And again, we were talking about Guendouzi needing time. I think even Isaacson needed time, and he came in the last games and played well. Even yesterday, he didn't play that much, but when he came in, he created chances. He can be very dangerous. So this is very important. Thinking that, Alistair, in Serie A this season, only 4 times Lazio score more than 1 goal in a game. So we need more goals, definitely.
Yeah, we do need more goals, and Tati, I'm not sure is the man who's going to be providing this point. It's not. It's just that he has had a lot of game time. This is a thing that's bothering me with him, and he does do quite a few things well that I like. He does things better than, when people are trying to make the Murici comparison. It's not really valid. They're very different players. Castellanos makes a lot more sense in this team than Murici ever did stylistically. He does work with the rest of the team better than Murici ever did. It's just the finishing off bit, and there's even more attention on that now than ever before, because the team is struggling as a unit so much. And as we know, it's kind of like the old Ciro with Italy debate. That was a big part of the problem that got magnified to such a level, was that Italy were really struggling to score any goals. And the more Italy struggled to score goals, the more everybody criticised Immobile, and the less confidence he got, and the worse he played. So we're at risk of falling into a similar cycle here. That's my worry.
Yeah, that's the concern. And, I felt the pressure he had when he missed that chance. You can see that he's not playing free like he did at the beginning of the season. And it was strange because in the first friendly game he played with us, he pretty much scored with the first ball he touched. And I said, wow, this looks like a real scorer. One
Well,
chance and he puts it in. Wow, this is great. Instead, it doesn't look like it's going that way, which is concerning because, again, Ciro is not getting younger. He's missing a lot of games so far, and I think he will miss a lot of games going forward. So,
was that in one of these games we win like 21-0 against Auronso's radio station or whatever it is?
No, it was against Girona, I think. We lost, and he scored with the first goal. With the first touch he had.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, this is his moment, isn't it? I mean, okay, the Anderson thing, it is a possibility, but I still think Sarri will go with him. I think that is going to be the number one option. But the time is now. If Ciro is spending a couple of weeks off, and we've got the fixtures still keep coming thick and fast, this is the moment for him to seize it. This is the opportunity, and I don't think there'll be many excuses left by the end of it if he gets through this period and he's still failing to score goals or put in good performances. So I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt for a little bit longer and say, okay, now you're the main man while Ciro's got an injury. Go and do it for us and see what happens.
Before we wrap it up, what do you think about Kamada's performance?
Similar to previous ones, probably. I mean, some nice stuff in there. You can see he's a good footballer. You can see he's technically good. There's a clip that was going around on social media a lot of him winning the ball, charging up the pitch, making a good pass to Zaki, making a great run, and Zaki completely ignores him and switches play. And Kamada looks really frustrated by it. And I've seen quite a lot of people being quite sympathetic towards Kamada about that. And I can understand why. I mean, maybe the team just isn't playing the way he wants them to. Maybe he's struggling to communicate with his teammates a bit. I don't know what it is, but where it feels like there's potential that's not been found there. I think that's the difference with Kamada is, for me anyway, I'm not questioning his ability as a player. I think he looks like he's clearly a good footballer, but there's just some sort of disconnect between him and this Lazio team.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, this connection. And it's not the first game where he's all alone and you simply need to pass the ball. And instead, sometimes you go back, you pass it to the defender. So I don't know, probably they're not used to his movement. He's a different player compared to Luis Alberto, right? He likes to get in the box while Luis Alberto likes to be outside the box. And probably we are not used to it. But again, as we were talking about Castellanos, there's a big chance that he will start against Frosinone. So, this could be very important to have him back at the top form.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of copy and paste what I've just said about Tati with Kamada, can't you? Because if Alberto's going to be injured for a bit, this is now a chance for him to step up and show what he's doing.
Do you believe in this rumor saying that he wants to leave?
I'd be surprised after 6 months. It's unusual. And it would be very concerning if it is true, because clearly he's seen something severely wrong if that's the case. But I, to be honest, very rarely believe any kind of rumors at this time of year, because you know what it's like. And it's January, so I don't think we can ever really expect anything to happen in January particularly.
No, and honestly, I don't know, because there are rumors saying that he could be not called from by the national team to play the Asian Cup, so he could be available in January. But there's a big chance he's not going to be here in January. So why would you sign a player who's not going to be available straight away? But yeah, I think a little bit like Tati Castellano. I think he proved more than Tati Castellano did so far. But he could have a huge chance against Frosinone, probably. I don't know if Luis Alberto will come back. But yeah, it's time also. It's time also that the players around him try to use him a little bit more, passing more the ball that they did so far. Because he's not the type of player who's going to steal the ball and do everything on his own. So I think the team need to play and look more for him.
Yeah, definitely. Before we wrap it up, I wanted to mention the Primavera team because I think we probably should have mentioned them before now because it's actually going quite well. But obviously, yesterday there was the derby against Roma, and I think you were watching it, judging by your tweets. So, do you want to fill us in on what happened?
Yeah, we won the derby Primavera against Roma 1-0. I have to be honest, Roma created much more chances than Lazio did. But we have a very interesting player. Sana Fernandez was unbelievable. They couldn't stop him. Roma defenders could simply not stop him. Every time he had the ball, it was or a foul or he would go through. So Sana Fernandez.
To remind everyone, where does he play? He's a winger, isn't he?
Yes, he's a little bit like Raul Moro, I would say. It's a mix between Raul Moro and Luca Romero. He's underage. This is important because I think he's now turning 17. So he's underage. He's a right wing. He's very skillful, very fast. A little bit short, to be honest. I don't know if he's ready now for Serie A, but at the Primavera level, he's unstoppable. So that's very important. Magro, the goalkeeper, made a couple of very good saves. But I have to say that Pistilli's the Roma player who scored in the Europe League was pretty much invisible in the derby. So, all this hype for this player, he didn't do pretty much nothing. Now, a lot of people will say, Diego Gonzalez scored his great performance. I thought he was dreadful. I thought he didn't do pretty much anything except scoring the penalty. He took a nice penalty. But yeah, I would say that Lazio was good defending and Sana Fernandez did pretty much everything. But nonetheless, Lazio's second in the table. I mean, we are just behind Inter. So if we remember, Lazio last year was in Serie B. So this is incredible achievement for me.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's so nice to finally have a bit of positivity around that because that's something I think we spoke about the last couple of years as being a real problem, that when the first team was struggling, it wasn't like we were getting this feed coming through from below, which I think always helps to keep things interesting, to promote young players, to even make some money, all these things. And going from Serie B Primavera, I mean, Serie A Primavera level still isn't brilliant, but it's still, at least you're in the top flight. And now, up in second place, been in the UEFA Youth League this season, obviously, as well. Finished third, I think, in the group there and managed to beat Celtic. But it's good experience for these young players and nice to finally, have a bit of a feeling that there's something going on at youth level.
Yeah, there are a couple of interesting players. I mentioned Sana Fernandez. I mentioned the goalkeeper Magro. We have to mention even Sardo, who made the penalty. There's even Napolitano, who is interesting. Bordon, who is looked to be an interesting player. So there are a couple of interesting players. Now, I'm not saying they are Serie A ready, but definitely comparing to the past, we have something which is big. Without forgetting that Lazio have the brother of Keita, Balde, who got injured at the beginning of the season. So we are missing a very important piece this season.
Nice. That's an interesting recruitment policy. We should just keep signing kind of younger brothers or former Primavera. Does Cataldi have a younger brother, or Tuncaraz younger brother?
Anyway,
good stuff.
Do you have something else to add? I know you have a busy day, so don't want to.
Yes. No, not really. Other than to say Happy Christmas to all our listeners and Happy New Year as well, because sadly I will be leaving you for a while. And
Why do you say sadly? It's my
because
Christmas.
I'm gonna miss you so much. That's why.
Yeah, I can see it happen.
No, I'm off on my honeymoon, so
Finally.
I think the marriage might not last very long if I was doing Lazio Lounge during my honeymoon. So, yeah, I'll be off for the next 3 weeks. Might get some special guests in to help you, Vittorio. It's going to be like, yeah, the parents have left the house and you're having a party. You're going to be having a great time.
I'm going to join it. Yep, definitely. It's going to be the best Christmas of my life, probably. Well, let's see what Lazio does, to be honest with you. But at least Christmas should be fine. 3 points, much needed. And, well, I'm going to be back. I don't know if Alistair's going to be back, but I'm going to be back after Lazio Frosinone. Very important game. Home game, 29th of December. So we're going to have a short break till the 29th. And who knows who's going to join me instead of Alistair.
Just never know. Never know.
Anyway, happy Christmas to all you Laziali all over the world. Hope you had a great time. And we'll be back as soon as possible. Please rate and review the podcast. And thanks again to all our patrons. We wouldn't be able to do it without you. And enjoy your holiday, Alistair.
Thank you very much. Catch you next year. Cheers, guys.
Ciao, ciao.